I am the first, and I am the last, and beside me there is no God. Hear it as present tense thunder within you, not yesterday, not tomorrow, now. And at the center of this now, a voice speaks that brooks no argument. It is finished. That is not a sentence to be improved. That is the key that turns the lock. Finality is the method. When we stand in "it is finished," the door to grace swings open now, without struggle, without bargaining, without the anxious mathematics of cause and effect. God the only power, only power. Be still and know that I am God. Now listen, we are not here to fix anything. That is the shock. We are not here to pinch the snake behind the head or to paint the pink elephant gray. The moment we take up a wrench to tighten reality into place, we have confessed that God left something undone. No, beloved, that is impossible. The works were finished from the foundation of the world. What troubles us is an appearance, a claim, a suggestion passing before the window of mind. Reality remains God, God's perfection. God is too pure to behold iniquity. So our way is not to confer power upon the appearance, but to drop it from consideration and behold grace. We withdraw our faith and reliance from effects, from symptoms, from headlines, yes, even from our private rehearsals of fear, and we stand in finality. It is finished. Prayer, then, is not asking, well, can I tell God of my need? No. God is knowing. God is being. God is eyesing. Prayer is resting in the accomplished isness of God, letting the I that formed you from the womb be the very life you are. Take no thought for your life. Can you feel the relief in that? This is not irresponsibility. It is holy responsibility, the fidelity to reality that says, I refuse to energize an appearance. I consent to the presence. I let it do the works. He performeth that which is given me to do. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Now participate with me. Softly, almost as a sigh, say within, it is finished. Again, gentler, it is finished. Let the words not travel outward, but settle downward. Notice the body's release, the shoulders unargue, the breath finds you, the brow unknits. That little click, that flutter of quiet, that is the door upon its hinges. Do not reach to swing it wider. Be still and know God, God, God. No petition, no plan, no mental engineering, only beholding. If a thought rises to protest, bless it and let it pass. Return to the word that cannot be overruled. Finished. And now the promise, sure as sunrise, never look for results. The moment you look for a sign, you have stepped out of grace into measurement. Do not do it. Remain a beholder of what already is. Let appearances come and go as clouds. Remain with I am as the sky. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. The I in the midst of you is mighty, not because it will act someday, but because its action is the very being of this moment. Finality is not the end of prayer, it is the beginning of presence. So we stand quiet, unhurried, unafraid at the open door. It is finished, and because it is finished, grace appears of itself. Now, before we take even one step further, say it with me softly. I. Again, but listen now to where it rises. I. Do you feel that it does not begin in the throat, nor in the head, nor from some distant heaven? Closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. The I wells up from a place you cannot chart, yet it is the most familiar point of your being. That I is not the little storyteller that boasts or fears. That I is the one that is before the story, above it and within it the I that was, that is, that forever is. Before Abraham was, I am. Hear it as your own life speaking, not as ancient history, but as this instant fact. Now we must distinguish, and we must do it gently. There is an ego I that says, I am tired, I am worried, I must fix, and there is the I that formed thee from the womb. Thus saith the Lord that made thee and formed thee from the womb, fear not. This I is not an achievement, it is identity. This I is not a future rescue, it is present being. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. Do not move from that promise. As surely as you hear my voice, hear within it a deeper voice, the only voice. I, in the midst of you, am mighty. Not will be, am. Mighty means all-sufficient, self-existent, unopposed. God, the only power, only power. Withdraw your gaze now from externals. Turn the eyes of mind from faces and forces, from numbers and names, from symptoms and situations. We do not deny appearances. We deny them our authority. We return authority to the one who has it by nature, the presence within. The Lord thy God in the midst of thee is mighty. He will save. He will rejoice over thee with joy. Can you feel the tenderness in that? The rejoicing is happening within your very consciousness. The saving is not an event imposed from without. It is the natural radiation of what you are as offspring of I am. Well, then, what is our part? Abide. You are not achieving, you are abiding. Abide in me, and I in you. When a branch abides in the vine, does it strive to bring forth life? No. It consents to its nature. So healing begins not when you take hold of the ankle of a problem, but when you rest in the I, that is your life, identity before fixing, presence before process, being before doing. And in that order, the works appear of themselves. Because it is the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Let us practice for a breath. Close the outer eye. Say within, I. Let the word descend below the chatter to the holy center. Wait there, be still, and know God, God, God. Do you notice the instant companionship? Lo, I am with you always. If a thought darts out to consult the textbook called Yesterday or Tomorrow, bring it back as a mother brings a child inside from the storm without scolding. Without drama, back to I. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. And hear what returns. Fear not. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee. Not I will send someone, I will be with thee. I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. This is safety. This is sufficiency. This is the quiet courage that allows you to put down the tool chest and become a witness. Identity first. From this indwelling I, wisdom issues, timing flows, provision appears, but you do not strain because the mighty in the midst is being himself as you. So hold to this one simple fidelity as we go on. Never leave the I for the fixing. Never trade the presence for a plan. Stay home in I, abide, and let grace show you that it is finished within you now. Now, having located the I, let us see what happens when we cease trying to make life run by levers and pulleys and step into the living government of grace. Scripture gives us the doorway. The law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus hath made me free from the law of sin and death. Do you hear the shift from law to spirit, from cause and effect to presence? Grace is not a reward, it is a state of grace that banishes, annihilates, wipes out physical law, mental law, the law of cause and effect, not by our effort, not by our holy arithmetic, but by the one who is, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. In the realm of mechanism, one thing pushes another, and the chain is endless. In grace, causation is swallowed up in being, God, the only power. Only power. When you and I rest in that recognition, we are no longer trying to bend conditions. We are beholding the one who is their substance. Of mine own self I can do nothing, said the Master. And then he revealed the secret. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. There it is. Doing is transfigured. Not the anxious manufacture of results, but the effortless expression of presence. The branch does not strain to force sap into a leaf. The vine lives itself through the branch. So with us, in grace, the I within performs its own nature and the appearance yields. Well, can I tell God of my need? No, no, no. God is not awaiting our bulletin of distress. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Prayer is not informing. Prayer is opening. Be still and know. Open out a way for the imprisoned splendor to escape. How? By consenting to what already is. Sit down inside your own being and say gently, God, 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 then listen. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Say within, I in the midst of me am mighty, and feel the triad seat itself in consciousness. All power, all wisdom, all presence are the I that is here. All power, there is nothing to oppose. All wisdom, there is nothing to figure out. All presence, there is nowhere to go to get God, for God is here. In the economy of law, we trust steps, methods, schedules, even sacred formulas, and then we worry if one link in our chain is weak. In grace, we withdraw reliance from mechanism and we place it where it belongs, on the living I that is living us. Take no thought for your life. Does that sound irresponsible? No. It is holy responsibility, the fidelity that refuses to set up a second power called circumstance. I go before thee to make the crooked places straight. Let that promise displace your timetable. Let that presence be your method. When the mind rushes to engineer, bring it home to I, and wait. In that waiting, you will notice a soft rearrangement, thought quiets, breath slows, a subtle warmth or lightness arrives, and without your planning, the way opens. He performeth that which is given me to do. Now a moment together. Close the book of causes. Lay down the toolbox of techniques. Sit in the simple luminous fact, I am. I in the midst of me is the law unto my universe. Be still and know God, God, God. Listen now, not for a plan, but for presence. If a thought asks, will this fix it? Bless it and let it pass. Return to the knowing. All power, all wisdom, all presence are here as I. Lo, I am with you always. Not a visiting grace, but indwelling grace, self-operating, self-revealing, and so we step out of cause and effect into presence, out of mental carpentry into holy beholding. This is not passive, it is potent. For when you leave law for grace, you are not left without governance, you are governed by the One. The waters part not because you command them, but because I am as the sea and the shore. The fire does not burn, not because you bargain with it, but because when thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, for I am with thee. Rest, then, in the finishedness we have declared. It is finished, and in that rest, grace unopposed, uncaused, unstrained, does the works. Now we must take up the gentle sword of sight correction, for all our resting in grace leads naturally to this. There is no sin, disease, or death in God. None. God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. If there is no darkness in God, and God the only power, then what is it that frightens, pains, alarms? An appearance, a claim crossing the stage of unillumined sense. Thou art of purer eyes than to behold evil, and canst not look on iniquity. If God cannot behold it, then what are we beholding? A mirage, a misseeing, a rope mistaken for a snake at dusk? You know that story. A traveler comes upon a coil on the path. The heart leaps, the breath shortens. Snake! There is sincerity in that fear. The body bears witness to it. But bring a lamp, bring a little light. Ah, rope. The moment sight is corrected, you do not need a stick. You do not need a prayer to slay a serpent. There never was a serpent to begin with. The fear dissolves because the premise dissolves. Reality never changed, only perception did. So it is with what parades before us as illness, lack, sin, danger. Do not mistake this teaching for callousness. We never mock suffering. We do not deny that sense is reporting distress. We deny divine reality to the claim. We refuse to confer power, substance, or law upon it. We call it by its right name: appearance, claim, suggestion, temptation in human thought. And we bring a lamp. Sometimes we make the objects of fear more absurd to help the mind relax its grip. Pink elephants. A man insists he sees them in the corner. He is earnest, pale, convinced. If you join him and build him a pen for elephants, you have lost him deeper in dream. If you berate him, you harden the fear. But if you quietly turn on the light and let him behold an empty corner, humor returns, breath returns, sanity returns. The elephant did not have to be driven from the room. It never entered. Fear vanishes when sight is corrected. Our brothers and sisters across the great stream bear witness. The Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree, and Mara came with fear, desire, memory, storms, lovely forms and loathsome forms. He did not wrestle shadows. He did not trade one dream for a brighter dream. He touched the earth, he grounded in reality, and the temptations dissolved. Illusion could not long endure one who would not confer it reality. So with the Master of Galilee, who said, "Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment, and be of good cheer, I have overcome the world." Overcome how? Not by battling every wave, but by abiding in the sea of I am, where waves are not a second power. Well then, what of the diagnosis, the balance sheet, the quarrel? We do not become clever deniers, we become beholders. God is of purer eyes than to behold iniquity. Then let us behold with God. Let us lift the lamp of I. Say within, I in the midst of me am mighty. God, God, God. Be still and know. Let the mind's hand unclench from the snake and reach for the light. Refuse to argue, refuse to fear. If thought asks, but is it not real? Answer softly. Real. In whose sight? In God there is only wholeness, and I abide in God. Bring the awareness home again. All power, all wisdom, all presence are here as I. In that beholding, a subtle thing happens. The body, startled as by a snake, feels a warmth spread. The breath remembers itself. The sinews of fear loosen because the premise is withdrawing. Perfect love casteth out fear. And love is not measuring facts. Love is being itself as your consciousness. As the grip relaxes, you may notice that what seems solid in problem shows itself to be movement, vapor, and it passes. Whether it passes now or later is not your province. Your fidelity is to reality, not to timing. The works were finished from the foundation of the world. It is finished. Take courage then. You need not wrestle snakes nor herd pink elephants. You need only bring the lamp turn from appearance to the eye within and see with God. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. The light in the midst goes before you, and where light is, darkness is not. Rest in that. Reality remains untouched, and as you behold it, Fear's hand slips from your shoulder like a cloak at morning. Now comes the radical instruction, and it is radical only to the habit that stares at shadows. Drop the patient and the condition. Yes, in this work we do not treat a disease, we do not take a person into prayer, we behold God as the only presence, the only power. If you carry a problem into the sanctuary, you have declared two powers, God and the problem, and you will wrestle. But this is holy ground. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Leave the shoes of sense reports at the door. Enter barefooted into I. Why? Because staring at the problem feeds the appearance. Attention is the food of illusion. If you keep the serpent in the corner of your eye, you will organize your room around a rope. If you carry a ledger of symptoms into consciousness, you will conduct mental bookkeeping all night. Withdraw your faith and reliance. That is the act. Dropping the problem is fidelity to reality. We refuse to confer power, substance, or law on an appearance. God, the only power. Only power. Thou art of purer eyes than to behold evil. Let us behold with God. So the protocol is simple, severe, kind. When the condition shouts, you do not argue with it. You turn within. You enter your closet and shut the door. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. Shutting the door is this: leave the condition outside. Leave the name, the diagnosis, the history outside. Come in alone as I say softly as a sigh from your roots, I am. Again, I am. Then be still and know, God, God, God. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Do not bring a patient to God. Bring God to your remembrance until I in the midst of you is all that fills the room. The Lord thy God in the midst of thee is mighty. He will save. Saving appears as the fruit of presence, never as the prize of effort. Now, a point that must be nailed down so firmly that fear cannot pry it loose. Never look for results. The instant you seek a sign, you have stepped out of grace into measurement, out of presence into law. Results belong to cause and effect. Grace is self-revealing, self-operating, self-fulfilling. Of mine own self I can do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. So you behold, you listen, you rest, and let being be. Signs follow, they are not sought. The works were finished from the foundation of the world. Finished means you do not pace the porch, you sit in the house. But will I not be irresponsible if I do not hold the patient in mind? No. You will be faithful. You will be faithful to the one life. That alone is your life and the life of that which seemed a patient. Identity first, I first, and the shadows find their level. In him we live and move and have our being. When you consent to that, the sense image thins and the presence stands forth. Fear not. Hear it now as if a hand were steadying your shoulder. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. Yea, I will help thee. Yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. Let us practice for a moment right where you are. Take the condition, no matter its costume, and set it gently outside the door of consciousness. Do not slam the door. Just close it. Come inside as I whisper within, I in the midst of me am mighty. Be still. God, God, God. Wait without demand. If a thought knocks, how goes the case? Do not open. Remain with I. Notice the little click, the loosening, the warmth. That is enough. Do not look back over your shoulder for results. Keep your face in grace. This is our method unveiled. We drop the patient and the condition. We behold God, the only presence and power. We rest in the indwelling I am and consent to the finality. It is finished. And because it is finished, grace appears of itself. Lo, I am with you always, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. I go before you to make the crooked places straight. Remain a beholder, beloved, remain. And watch how reality, needing no help, reveals itself as all. Now let us make this very simple, very holy, and very practical. We have left the patient and the condition at the door. We come in alone as I. What do we do here? Two things, and only two. First, we behold truth with the inner eye until the heart grows quiet. Second, we listen wordless, expectless, surrendered. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. This twofold movement opens out a way for the imprisoned splendor to escape. Begin then with beholding. Not many words, but living words. Sit, breathe if you must, and let the body know it is safe. Say within, as if dropping pearls into a deep well, God, God, God. Be still and know that I am God. Let each God settle, not slapped upon the mind, but allowed to sink. Then I am that I am, not as theology, as identity. Again, I, in the midst of me, am mighty. Feel the emphasis, midst. The Lord thy God in the midst of thee is mighty. God, the only power, only presence, only life. Whisper, only God is. If a scripture rises, give it breath. Before Abraham was, I am. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. In him we live and move and have our being. Do not rush. You are not piling bricks. You are turning on the light. As these statements are beheld, not argued, watch what happens in the inner weather. The mind ceases its carpentry. The heart softens. A sense of here-ness, of holy immediacy, draws near, or rather is recognized as already here. Thou art of purer eyes than to behold evil, then behold with those eyes. Repeat, if you like, 3 times slowly, God, God, God. Then let the lips within fall silent. Now the second part, listening. This is the hinge on which the door swings. Say once, and once only, with the gentleness of a child at bedside, Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Then listen. Let the earth keep silence before him. Let the shoulders set down their bundles. Refuse to engineer a message. Refuse to hunt for results. Give 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute as you can to sheer receptivity. Signs, they are not commanded. They sometimes appear. A little click, as if a latch lifted. A soft warmth spreading like morning in the chest. A weight falling off the back of thought. If such a token comes, bless it, and then no more words. Dwell in the hush. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Now remember the boundary, for it guards your wellspring. During these few minutes, let the patient and the condition remain outside. If the name knocks, how goes the case? Do not open. If an image presses its face to the window, draw the shade and return to I. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door. Shutting the door is this: keep the mind stayed on God. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. If you wander, gently come back. I, God, here. That is enough. You will learn the taste of this silence as surely as you know the voice of a friend. My sheep hear my voice. It is not dramatic. It is sure. It does not argue. It reveals. It does not fix. It is the presence that erases the chalk marks of appearance without a word. In this beholding and listening, law yields to grace, effort to isness, fear to love. You have opened out a way for the imprisoned splendor to escape not from God into you, but from your consent into visibility as the life you are. When you rise, rise softly. Do not look back to measure. Do not ask, did something happen? The works were finished from the foundation of the world. It is finished. Walk out carrying nothing but quiet. Let the day discover you different without your trying. If a need presents itself, smile inwardly and promise it nothing. Give it no audience. Go again to the closet. Behold, listen, rest. Only God is. And in that recognition, grace, invisible, irresistible, does the works. Now, beloved, we come to the safeguard that keeps us in grace and out of the anxious workshop of law. Never look for results. Why? Because the moment you turn your head to measure, you have left presence for process, being for becoming, grace for cause and effect. Measurement is the old economy where fear does the accounting. What if, how far, how fast? And in that climate, the heart tightens, the breath shortens, and we begin to help God as if God had left something undone. No, the works were finished from the foundation of the world. It is finished. To look for results is to deny finality. To refuse to look is fidelity to reality. The Master gave us the picture that saves us from peaking. So is the kingdom of God, as if a man should cast seed into the ground, and should sleep and rise night and day, and the seed should spring and grow up, he knoweth not how. Hear that, he knoweth not how. For the earth bringeth forth fruit of herself. First the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. There is a wholly of herself in grace. It does not wait upon our vigilance. It is the nature of I am expressing. When we keep going out with a lantern at midnight to see if the seed has moved, we trample the field. Be still and know. Let the Father within do the works. Of mine own self I can do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Well, Joe, how shall I know anything is happening? You shall not know in the way you are asking, and that is your freedom. Signs follow, they are not sought. Before they call, I will answer. Outward changes often come like dawn, unannounced, unhurried, and suddenly you find you can read the newspaper without your old spectacles of fear, or the ache you are tutoring has forgotten your name. Subtle markers may visit while you sit, a quiet that has weight, a relief that arrives without permission, a word that is less a sentence than a settled yes. Bless such tokens and go no further. Do not build a shrine to them. Keep your gaze on I, God, God, God. I must press this upon you with both tenderness and a little humor to relax the habit of striving. Begin once a day, twice if you can, and quite without your planning, it becomes 3. Then, oh dear, you're joyfully hooked on silence. You will find yourself slipping away to the closet as naturally as a thirsty one to a well. Not to get, but to be. Not to engineer an outcome, but to keep the covenant of quiet. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Keep the appointment as sacredly as you would keep a promise to a beloved. Be faithful to the time, not to the result. Consistency over curiosity, covenant over checkout. But if I never look, won't I miss my blessing? No. You will cease missing it. The blessing is the presence. And the presence is not a visitor to be caught in the act. It is the very life of this moment. Lo, I am with you always, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. When you do not poke at grace, grace appears as of itself, because you have not interposed a measuring mind between what is and its expression. The branch does not count leaves to assess the vine. It abides. Abide in me, and I in you. Abide, and let the sap have its way. So here is our holy simplicity. Enter your closet and shut the door. Leave the patient and the condition without. Sit, behold, only God is. Say within, I in the midst of me am mighty. Then listen, speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. And afterward, rise and refuse to audit, refuse to ask, did something happen? The works were finished. It is finished. Walk softly through the day with the quiet you carried out of the secret place. If a need shows its face, promise it nothing, grant it no hearing, return to I, God. 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 This is trust in the invisible. This is the atmosphere of grace. And in that atmosphere, without your watching, the seed that is the Word lives its own life. First the blade, then the ear. After that, the full corn in the ear. Not by might, not by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Again and again this has been our witness. When attention returns to I am and the problem is let go at the door, grace appears and the appearance yields. Not by might, not by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. I do not bring these accounts to set up a shrine to events. I bring them to keep our gaze on the principle that governs them. Presence going before us, the indwelling performing its own nature. Once hurrying to a late flight, my mind rehearsed reasons to press on. Tickets, connections, obligations, law had its ledger open. In that stir, the simplest word rose from the deep quiet we have been tending, wait. Not a threat, not a promise, a single syllable weighted with peace. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. I stepped aside, let the line stream past, sat with God. God, God, God. The old impulse to measure, what if I miss? Floated up and was not fed. Within the hour, news arrived. A weather snarl had turned that route into a night's entanglement. A later way opened clear, easy, almost playful in its mercies. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Do you see? No pleading, no bargaining, no mental carpentry, only beholding and the quiet click, I go before thee, and make the crooked places straight. Presence had never been absent. My consent, let it be seen. Another time, early in this practice, a call came with the urgency sense loves. A condition was declared progressive and certain to worsen by morning. I heard the report and then set the patient and the condition outside the door. Come in alone, as I in the midst of me am mighty. Be still and know God, God, God. No plan, no picture. Only the hush, the weight of quiet that sometimes feels like a hand on the heart. A warmth spread like dawn through shutters, and there was the little release we have named the click. Nothing more was done, and importantly, nothing was sought. In the morning, the one who had been named a patient spoke with a lightness that had not been there, strength where fear had forecast weakness, wholeness where reason had diagrammed decline. Before they call, I will answer. He performeth that which is given me to do. The earth bringeth forth fruit of herself. Please hear what is not being said. No virtue of mine, no power of personality, no straining prayer. Of mine own self I can do nothing. If the rose opens at dawn, it is not because the gardener stared it awake. It is the nature of life to show forth under light. We do not treat people and diseases. We behold God. We do not improve conditions. We consent to reality. This is our fidelity. Drop the problem, return to I, listen without demand, and refuse to look for results. Signs follow, they are not sought. And if you ask, is this only for a few? No. The saints and sages bear one chorus. Moses heard, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, and the waters knew their level. David sang, He leadeth me beside the still waters, he restoreth my soul. Isaiah thundered, Fear thou not, for I am with thee. The Master of Galilee lived it as breath. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. The Buddha under the Bodhi tree refused Mara's parade of appearances, and the dawn broke. Browning whispered our shared secret, the imprisoned splendor, waiting not outside but within to escape. One revelation, many tongues. I in the midst of you am mighty. Let these testimonies teach only this pattern. Attend to I, not to issue. Rest, not wrestle. Behold, not build. Listen, not calculate. When we are faithful to reality, reality shows itself faithful. Lo, I am with you always, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. The presence in the midst is the law of our being. As you drop the problem and abide, it is finished, ceases to be a sentence on a page and becomes the atmosphere you live in. And in that holy air, grace appears of itself, and the appearance dissolves like mist before the morning. Beloved, testimonies become pathways when your feet take them up. We have beheld what grace is and how it appears when the problem is dropped. Now let us walk without externals, reliance withdrawn, guidance embraced. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Hear that, he shall. Not might, not if you help enough shall. Our shift is simple and entire. From people, possessions, prognosis, and balances, to the presence that goes before you. I will go before thee and make the crooked places straight. The I within me goes before me. I in the midst of me am mighty. Daily life becomes serene, not because the world behaves, but because reliance returns to the one life being all. At the doctor, be a beholder. You may sit in a waiting room with reports marching across your mind in that very chair. Withdraw your faith from outcomes and instruments and return it to I. Put the name of the condition outside the door of consciousness. Come in alone as I, under your breath or within your breast. 3 syllables that open heaven. God, God, God. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. When you enter the room, look not for a Savior in a white coat, nor make an enemy of it. Behold only one presence expressing through every honest office of care. If a phrase rises, the Lord thy God in the midst of thee is mighty, he will save. Let it rest upon the moment like oil. You will find that words given you are measured, kind, apt. You will find a hush beneath the sounds. The I that does the works conducts even a conversation, and you remain at rest. At the bank or before a glowing balance sheet, where figures pretend to be gods, do likewise. Numbers speak loudly to sense. Let them not be your oracle. Touch your pocket, where a small card waits with a greater word. It is finished. Put a finger there. Breathe once, twice, and listen for the inner yes. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Refuse to argue with columns. Refuse to confer causality upon arithmetic. Be a beholder and wait the heartbeat it takes for guidance to come. It may say, give. It may say, wait. It may open a door you had not seen or close one you were forcing. Before they call, I will answer. Watch how the pressure leaks out of the hour when you choose. Presence over prognosis, I over interest rates. At the office, where personalities draft weather, keep your eye single. Before a meeting, step aside as one who honors a sanctuary. Touch the card, it is finished, and murmur, I, be still. No. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Withdraw reliance from cleverness, charm, memory. Rest in the eye that knows before you ask. A soft answer will rise without rehearsal. A pause will appear where heat would have been. A soft answer turneth away wrath. You will perceive that the presence in the midst orders the hour without your strain. Crooked places straight, rough places plain. Make this your simple art. Mantras on the move, between tasks, at thresholds, while washing a cup. God, God, God. Not as magic, as remembrance, or simply ah, or only God is, or speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. These are not performances. They are tiny turns of the face toward the Sunday. Keep your boundary unbroken. In formal times of meditation, leave the problem at the threshold. Become only a beholder and listen. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, shut it. Keep your mind stayed on God. If the image knocks, do not open. If curiosity whispers, how goes the case? Let it pass like a traveler you do not know. Carry your small card as a sacrament of finality. Before you dial, before you sign, before you answer, touch it, it is finished, and give 10 seconds to holy silence. The inner yes may be a warmth, a loosening, a stillness that says, proceed. It may be a gentle weight that says, not now. Trust the eye that guides you with its eye. I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. I will guide thee with mine eye. Do not look for results. Abide in the atmosphere. The fruit appears of herself, and you will discover, smiling, that you are being led. This is walking without externals. Reliance withdrawn from all that comes and goes. Guidance embraced from the one that is. Lo, I am with you always, closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. The presence goes before you and beside you and as you. Keep your mind stayed, keep your little rituals of remembrance, and you will find the day is already arranged. It is finished, and in that finishedness, your steps are ordered, your heart is quiet, and grace does the works. Now, let us seal the work, not with effort, but with a vow of finality and rest. This is our covenant. Every sitting begins and ends with, it is finished. Hear it as more than words. Hear it as the climate of your prayer. Finality is the method, and in that finality, the door stands open now. When you cross the threshold of your closet, do so with it is finished upon your lips as a key, and when you rise, carry the same word as a seal. Finishedness, before and after, Alpha and Omega. I am the first, and I am the last, and beside me there is no God. Begin tonight, not tomorrow when the calendar is kinder tonight. 2 brief periods, simple and holy. First, contemplation. A handful of living words beheld, not argued. God, God, God. I am that I am. I in the midst of me am mighty. The Lord thy God in the midst of thee is mighty. He will save. Only God is. Let them sink as stones into a still pool until the surface clears. Second, listening. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Then quiet. 5 minutes if grace allows. 3 if kindness suggests. 1 if that is what love can hold. No requests cross that boundary. No results are checked at the door or upon departure. The works were finished from the foundation of the world. Be a beholder, refuse to be an auditor. If you like, place a small card on your nightstand and by your morning cup. On one side, it is finished. On the other, I in the midst of me am mighty. Touch it as one touches a sacrament. In the evening, before sleep, let finality be your last thought. In the morning, before speech, let it be your first. Should you forget, begin again as if for the first time. Grace bears no ledger. Live in gratitude through the day, not for outcomes that flatter sense, but for presence that never departs. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. Thank the shepherd, not the pasture. Thank the stillness, not the weather. Gratitude to presence keeps you in grace. Then go forth gently, quiet confidence, open ears, no strain. Let the heart breathe this unto everything. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. At the doorway pause 10 seconds, God, 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 and step through by the inner yes. In the conversation, feel for the soft answer that rises without rehearsal. In the decision, touch the card. It is finished, and wait one breath. Withdraw reliance from externals. Rest your weight upon I. Closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet, the presence walks as your very life. Do not look over your shoulder for signs. Walk straight on in the atmosphere. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Abide, and let of herself be the law of the hour. Receive now the benediction that is not mine, but ever yours. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. Yea, I will help thee. Yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Lo, I am with you always. Let these be the everlasting arms beneath your minutes. When fear whispers, answer nothing. Rest in I. When appearance knocks, open to no one. Remain in the house of finishedness. Beloved, consecrate your days with this vow. It is finished. Begin in it, end in it. Live in gratitude to presence within it, and let your ear stay turned. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. As you rest, grace appears of itself, God the only power, only power. And in that holy simplicity, your soul finds its Sabbath, and the world, unhelped, is quietly made new.